I'm very courteous to you.
No, you have been nothing near courteous to me during the course of these proceedings.
Lori Vallow Daybell is currently on trial again, this time in Arizona for conspiring to murder her ex-nephew-in-law. She's already serving life in prison for the murders of her 2 children and her husband's previous wife. But on June 6, 2025, despite all of these things that she's been convicted of, she wanted to be able to say in court that she's a loving and peaceful person. The judge immediately warned her, if you bring up your good character, the prosecution can bring up your entire history, including your murder convictions. But Lori didn't stop, and the situation escalated to the point where the judge said, take her out, take her out, take her out. She was literally removed from her own trial. Welcome to Revealing the Crime, where we explore true crime, manipulation tactics, and the psychology behind criminal behavior, especially cluster B traits. This channel is for discussion and education, not diagnosis. Viewer discretion is advised, as some topics may be disturbing. Let's uncover the truth, one case at a time. The article we're talking about today is titled America's Worst Mother, Lori Vallow is Thrown Out of Court After Attacking Judge. It begins, Doomsday Mom Lori Vallow Daybell was kicked out of the courtroom after arguing with a judge during her murder conspiracy trial. She is facing charges in Arizona for the attempted murder of Brandon Boudreaux, the ex-husband of her niece. In April, she was convicted of conspiring to kill her estranged husband, Charles Vallow, in 2019 and faces another possible life sentence. She's already serving 3 life sentences for the murder of her children, Tylee, 16, and son, JJ, who was 7, in 2019, as well as conspiring to kill her 5th husband, Chad Daybell's previous wife, Tammy Daybell. I'm curious to know what all of you think. So she's already serving 3 life sentences. She's facing another possible life sentence. How do you feel about putting her on trial again? I have an opinion about it. My thoughts are the families and the victims deserve for there to be a consequence to Lori's actions. It's part of their healing journey, in my opinion, but you all let me know what you think. The article continues, during the second day of her trial, the judge had her escorted out of the courtroom after a fiery exchange of words. The prosecution argued that Vallow Daybell, who was representing herself in court, opened the door for them to mention her previous convictions during her opening statement by claiming she is loving and peaceful. I want to talk about this thing first, that she's representing herself in court. She chose to waive her right to an attorney and represent herself in multiple trials. This is not about strategy, it's about control. Her behavior fits with cluster B traits. Cluster B personality disorders are marked by emotional instability, manipulation, and a deep need for control or admiration. People with these traits often reject accountability, rewrite reality to fit their narrative, and use drama, victimhood, or intimidation to control others. This cluster includes narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, and antisocial personality disorder. And both psychopaths and sociopaths fall under the umbrella of this antisocial personality disorder. A couple of months ago, I did a video where I compared Lori Vallow and Meghan Markle, and some people gave me a lot of heat for it because Lori's actions have resulted in people's death, including children. Now, I understand that the consequences of these 2 people's actions are very, very different. However, their behavioral traits, the way that they represent themselves is very similar. And it's because I believe both of them lie in this cluster B personality. Going back to this Lori representing herself. Self-representation in high-stake trials is often seen in defendants who have extreme distrust of authority or counsel, inflated self-image, thinking that they're smarter than lawyers, and a desire to perform, monologue, or manipulate from the center of the stage. And in Lori's case, this is the courtroom. You're not just seeing a criminal on trial here. You're watching a woman attempt to rewrite her identity using the courtroom as a platform. What Lori and Meghan have in common isn't just control. It's this belief that no one else can do it better than them. Lori fired her lawyers and represented herself during her trial. Meghan has gone through many PR teams, staff, nannies, and assistants because in Meghan's mind and in Lori's mind, these people were all the problem, not themselves. They're thinking that they're being bold and independent, but what they're really doing is refusing to be advised, rejecting accountability, and putting themselves at the center of every process, even if it blows up in their face. It's not about trust, it's about control, because when you believe you're the smartest, most capable person in every room, you don't just ignore the experts, you become them. The article continues, tensions escalated when Vallow Daybell interrupted the judge and demanded a hearing over the character evidence. Here's a clip of the judge's response.
Take her out.
I'm very courteous to
Take
you.
her out. No, you have been nothing near courteous to me during the course of these proceedings.
So the judge is warning her in real time, if you bring up your character, the prosecution can bring your convictions in also. Lori's courtroom behavior is a masterclass in cluster B traits. There's grandiosity. She truly believes she can talk her way into innocence despite serving life sentences. Image control. Her tone and delivery matter more to her than the facts. If she sounds peaceful, she thinks that will be enough. There's spotlight seeking. She's not defending herself. She's performing for validation. And faux innocence is not about truth. It's about looking like the victim to manipulate perception. This is why cluster B personalities can be so dangerous in positions of self-representation. Lori isn't trying to build a case. She's trying to build a narrative. She believes if she performs peace, she is peaceful. But the judge isn't an audience and the court isn't a casting call. The article continues, and it's summarizing the following moments.
And
You don't need to yell at me either.
yelling at you, okay?
Yeah, you are, and you do not need to talk
Okay.
to me that way. I'm
Take her
very
out.
courteous.
Take her out.
I'm very courteous to
Take
you.
her out.
The first thing Lori says is, you don't get to yell at me either. It's strange that she adds the word either at the end of that sentence. So I wonder what she was thinking in her head that the judge had done previously to her. That yelling is the second thing that he can't do either. Now, this sentence is a deflection tactic, and it's used when people of these personalities sense their control slipping. By accusing the judge of yelling when he clearly wasn't, Lori repositions herself as the wronged party. She hijacks the emotional narrative, making it about her feelings instead of her actions, and discredits the authority figure, which in this case is dangerous and delusional. This isn't just lying, it's emotional manipulation, weaponizing perception to create confusion. This is actually a term called victim inversion, where the actual aggressor paints themselves as the person being attacked. The thing she says is, you're not in charge of me that way. This response shows an inability to tolerate power structures that don't center her. Even in a courtroom, a space built entirely on law and order, she insists on defining the tone, the process, and the boundaries. She views any challenge as a threat to her perceived superiority. Her response isn't legal, it's personal. She's not just fighting for innocence, she's fighting to stay in charge of the narrative. It's also telling that she uses that way, suggesting she still believes that the judge can be in charge, but only on Lori's terms. Then she says, I'm very courteous to you. This is a manipulative image-saving tactic. Cluster B personalities often use performative politeness to disguise aggression. I'm being polite, so you must be the problem. To confuse the observer. Why is the judge reacting so strongly if Lori's being so nice? And also to control the optics, especially in a setting where perception matters. This is not real courtesy. It's the veneer of civility to cover instability. And the judge, he says, take her out, take her out, take her out. He recognized the manipulation instantly. That's why he didn't argue. He shut it down because engaging would only feed her performance. I only wish that I had the skill that this judge had, and hopefully with time and experience and knowledge creating this type of content, I'll be able to recognize it as quickly as the judge did. I'm curious to know what you all thought about this. Please drop it in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and you're looking for a meaningful way to support something beyond the screen, I'd love for you to consider making a donation to the National Domestic Violence Hotline in lieu of super chats and super stickers. They provide 24/7 support and resources for people in unsafe or overwhelming situations, whether emotional, physical, or just hard to name. Their information is on the screen should you need to contact them. You'll also find the link to donate in the description of this video. Every little bit helps and it means a lot. If this video was interesting to you, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you'll know every time I drop a new video. I want to thank you all so much for listening, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.